say. I got something to say. Spreading love and spilling tea. So welcome everybody to Tea Time. Hey!
Hello, Lovies. It is time for another Tea Time podcast where I just come to a couple different topics, talk off the dome. Today I'm a little bit more prepared than I have been in the past, but still just talking off the dome. Okay, so our first topic for today, Black women Christians. All right, so let's get into it. So lately I've been feeling a pull away from my current spiritual congregation, which is like a digital congregation. It's spearheaded by a Black male pastor. He's young. He has been extremely important to my spiritual journey, to my spiritual growth, which is why I'm not gonna call him out specifically here. But I've just been feeling like he's been getting a little bit judgy and kind of like too traditional and given into like super strong purity policy when it comes to like essentially policing Black Christian women bodies. And I'm just not really feeling it. So I feel that I am moving towards a space that supplements what I'm lacking in that area and getting Black Christian woman community elsewhere. And what I found is like there's super strong pockets of this community on Instagram, specifically the unfit Christian community. It's dope. It's Black women who are cussing and being pro like their sexuality, sensuality. They are preaching about living lavishly and luxuriously, pressing into the promises that God has put over your life. And I've just been really, really enjoying that. I think as Black women, we are most of church congregations. We're huge. Like I think 80% of like most Black congregations are Black women, but the leadership doesn't reflect that. And when the leadership and the systems don't reflect the people that they're serving, there's bound to be abuse, I believe. And I just think that's great to kind of try to supplement the religiosity with some deep, loving spirituality. Yes. All right. What's our next topic? Blackness in the PhD. Okay. So, oh my gosh, y'all. A couple weeks ago, I am taking this gender, sex, race, and performance class, which in itself is super irresponsible, I think, to teach all those things in one class, but go off, right? So we're doing the race part, and race right now means African American experience. And it is so freaking much as a Black woman to be in this space. So we were assigned the 13th and I Am Not Your Negro and the 1619 Project, all of which were like super popular and super well-known works. But a while ago, I decided that I would no longer engage or experience or watch Black trauma. I felt like I had seen enough and experienced enough and held enough of that pain and fear and hurt and anger in my body and in my generational well that I did not need to keep watching it. Like from the age of, I don't know how old I was, but whenever The Secret Life of Bees came out and I saw that movie, that was my first real just devastating media interaction, like movie interaction, I think, with racism. And from that time on, there's been a continuous re-traumatizing. And the other day, I was assigned these, if you can watch them, if you need to watch them, that's fantastic. That's your business. But for me, I feel like a lot of the times in our American education system, there is no other marginalized group that we teach through such graphic brutalization techniques, right? Like, you don't have to sit and watch a whole bunch of rapes. You don't have to sit and watch a whole bunch of genocides in the same way that you have to look at a whole bunch of like lynchings and getting sprayed by water hoses and all this other stuff. So for me, it just feels like a lot of the time I'm in predominantly white institutions. And so what happens is these teachers and professors are assigning this material to educate, but you're trying to like shock white people and you're electrocuting black people on the way. And I just think that that is so much and so exhausting. And it's really exhausting to experience it when you see that you are the only black face in a room and the only black woman in a room, and it's especially the only black American woman, because every black experience is a unique black experience, but the African American experience is an extremely unique experience. So that's just something that it was just a lot for me, and I realize now that I'm gonna have to be a lot more clear and strong and resilient, I suppose is a word I could use, about my boundaries and what I'm comfortable with. Our next topic is the Texas weather, the mostness. All right, so Texas is my love, my home, where I grew up. If you could not tell from this accent, it's where I was born and raised. And Texas is currently experiencing a weather phenomena like we have not seen in what they're saying is a decade. And there's so much happening, y'all. This week we have seen, first off, winter was only like one day a couple months ago. Like, they had one snow day a couple months ago and we thought Texas was like, okay, I'm done. No. She came back in and was like, oh, but another thing. Girl, it's so heartbreaking to see the governmental failure that has occurred in this time, to see that loved ones don't have power, that they don't have, there's no water, the grocery stores are all run over and run through, and it's just a really upsetting time for Texas. So if you know somebody in Texas and love somebody in Texas, I do recommend that you reach out and try to be of service, if not that of love, to them. What I have experienced this week has been much less dramatic. My family and I suppose maybe because we live so close to a hospital, did not experience any power outages. We did experience some water issue, but it has been restored and there was no significant damage. Our biggest thing was like there was no internet. And so what was a devastating experience to a lot of people really demonstrated the covering of God over my family. And I've come from a very privileged place in my life, which means that I've never before really had to be just extremely reminded of the gratefulness of having power, of having a warm shower, of having the ability to cook food. And what else I'm grateful for is being able to be in space with my family during times of crisis, right? Because I'm technically supposed to be at school. And due to the pandemic and everything, I'm at home with those that I love and those that love me. So all this to say, I'm experiencing a great amount of perspective, of gratitude, and also my heart, my prayers, and my actions go out to the Texans, my Texas family, who are experiencing a devastating the mostness. Our next topic is marrying Jesus. Okay, so this is going to be in reference to the text Isaiah 54:5, which essentially just says that for your maker is your husband, the Lord Almighty is his name, the Holy One of Israel is your Redeemer. He is called the God of all the earth. So, depending on who you're talking to in the Christian community, they will tell you that it is weird to say that you're like dating Jesus, that Jesus is your husband, that God is your husband. Whoop, bam. Now, I probably would have at some point said that. I didn't even know this text existed. That's, I guess, the wealth of the Bible, right? Is that you're constantly being surprised by what's there. So maybe about a couple weeks ago, I was listening to a message and just kind of heard this and was knocked over by it. And I think for me, I can see how you would call like saying God is your husband weird, but here's where I'm coming from. I am a young Black woman in America. Black women in America are the least married population, most educated, but least married. And we are also the most like super Christian population as well. And if there's one thing you're going to hear in a Christian community as a Black woman, is that you need a husband, right? So you're in these dueling expectations versus dueling like resources, I suppose, right? Like you don't have enough to be what you're supposed to have to be enough. And all that to say, there is this large kind of fear politics that are placed on Black women to be married. And it's real. Like I grew up with so many young Black women who were constantly hearing, you might want to start getting ready so that you can find your husband. Be nice to him, even if you don't really like him, because he could be your husband. You don't want to end up like me because I don't have a husband. Like just a lot. And my mom was never really that person, but still socially you kind of feel it, right? So I think where I'm coming from is just an alleviation of fear, of stress, of pressure by saying that God is my husband and understanding that God is my husband. And when I say that, what I mean is it gives me a great sense of peace, joy, comfort, and hope that I am in loving, mutual, reciprocal union and covenant, meaning intention, action, and purposefulness and agreement with the energy that created the universe. I am in a marriage of a binding foreverness with that is love, with his prosperity, with provision, with truth, with light, with grace. And I think that that's a beautiful thing. And what it also does for me is it sets my expectations and it sets a kind of container, in the sense that if I'm in love with myself and in love with my God, and my God is in love with me, then anybody else who is coming needs to be coming with something fantastic to be invited to share that love with us, right? To be invited into that space, you have to be coming with more than a Chili's gift card and some decent dick. Like, that's not what we're doing here. Like, because I receive all I need between my God and myself, there's nothing I need from you. So you must be offering a luxury service. And as a luxury, it must be phenomenal. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of where I'm coming from whenever you'll hear me say that God is my husband or I am kept completely, is that I'm not worried about what an earthly man has or does not have, because I'm good. But if you want to come through, then you better come through. I heard it tonight at a forum I was in. There was a woman who said, don't come as you are, come as I am, because I'm busy loving on me and loving on my God. And I think that's fantastic. All right, real quick, we're going to try to hit this last little topic. The most recent book that I've been reading. All right, so the most recent book that I just finished the other day is The Value in the Valley, A Black Woman's Guide Through Life's Dilemmas by Iyanla Vanzant from Iyanla Fix My Life. And this book was, I really like her. I like her stuff. She sometimes takes a minute to get, where I want her to go, but I do enjoy what I find here. What I loved, I'm going to tell you this tidbit, reading this quote. Know when you need to exercise your freedom, speak your truth, challenge your fear, or be patient. And I think that's beautiful, right? What I got from this book is the power of releasing other people's problems, the power of engaging and acknowledging your truth, the power of being obedient to your spirit and to God, the power of peace, the power of your expectations. And as a Black woman, you are constantly taught that you have too high expectations, and that is not the case. The world just needs to do better. And then also taught the power of surrender, that once you set your expectations, that you have a vision, that you surrender your attachment to the outcome, your surrendering your plan, surrendering how things have to come into fruition. So yeah, this was a longer podcast than I usually do, but it's been a while, so I want to give y'all some extra loving. Yeah, so go ahead, let me know what y'all think. Let me know if there's something that you want me to specifically talk about next time. Also, y'all check out my Etsy shop. It's Tea Light Creation Company. I will leave the link in the description of this video. Be good, lovies.